Well, I think it's just a reacquaintance show, really, for many of the participants coming back into China for the first time, like myself, in nearly 4 years. Almost every guest that we've had on over the last 3 years, the notable guests haven't been back to China since 2019. So it's a reacquainted kind of tour, obviously, and also kind of get an assessment of the Chinese economy. That's something we got from one of our guests this morning. That was Cornell University Senior Professor of Trade Policy, Ishwar Prasad. He was just on a panel that was talking about the Chinese economy. Is the next boom coming? It was also with Zhu Min, the former deputy head of the IMF, and also former deputy PBOC governor. They had a little bit of different opinions, but again, they still kind of said that the groundwork is in place for economic growth going forward. Like Li Qiang said, the second quarter is going to be better than the first quarter, but again, there is a sense of, or a lack of, confidence in that recovery. Let's hear part of my discussion with Ishwar Prasad.
I think it's going to take a combination of macroeconomic stimulus, monetary and fiscal stimulus, but also some measures to reassure the private sector in particular that the government isn't going after them. The government is going to create space for the private sector to thrive, because realistically they need the private sector, especially small and medium enterprises, if they want to generate good productivity and employment growth, which are going to be crucial for sustainable growth over the longer term.
Yeah, because we didn't just have COVID-0, we had the crackdowns, the simultaneous crackdowns on the platform economy and the big employers like an Alibaba. We had the crackdown on property. We had crackdown on online gaming, online education, a number of different crackdowns simultaneously on the private sector. Now they want to lure back the entrepreneurs. But also, when you cut rates, those rate cuts don't go to the small to medium-sized enterprises. They're not benefiting them. So what do they need to do to encourage entrepreneurs to have that confidence?
So there are two sets of issues you raised, Stephen. One is how to rebuild the private sector's confidence after the knocks it took in the last few months. They need the private sector in order to accomplish objectives like generating more domestic innovation, generating more productivity growth. And if you send the private sector a signal that they are welcome, but not if they grow too big, that doesn't send a very positive message. You're right that macroeconomic stimulus directed to that sector is going to be difficult. Now, rate cuts and broader credit expansions won't help very much, but China does have measures in its toolkit, measures to direct lending to small and medium enterprises, to the services sector. The latter is very good at generating employment growth. SMEs are very important for both productivity and employment growth, but this again goes against the Chinese desire to move towards a more market-based, market-oriented monetary policy, but in the short run, they might pull out those tools.
Is China heading towards a balance sheet recession like Japan did?
Perhaps a mild one, but I think they will get past it and just perhaps deal with a slowdown in growth.
Now, that kind of wraps up our coverage of the Summer Davos here in Tianjin. Interesting 3 days for me. Obviously, Rish and Eslinda get back into China. I haven't ever been out of China for more than, a couple of months over the last 33 years. So 4 months or 4 years out, that's an eternity, I tell you. Things change fast.
And it's great to see you back there. Stephen Angle in Tianjin, we thank you so much for all your coverage this week. Well, still to come on the show, our exclusive interview with ECB Vice President Luis de Guindos, who talks about the central bank's upcoming meetings and risks to the European economy. This is Bloomberg.